Welcome to the Gym Shorts podcast series. I'm your host, Kathy Smith.
Hello, and welcome to the Gym Shorts podcast. Today, we're meeting with Tonia Teasley, Executive Director at Pacer Center. Welcome, Tonia. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Kathy. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, awesome. Tonia, first, can you please tell us a little bit about Pacer Center? What is your mission? What was the reason Pacer got started?
Sure. So at Pacer, we like to call ourselves champions for children with disabilities because we are the only organization in Minnesota that helps children and youth of all ages and all disabilities. And sometimes it's hard for me to describe what Pacer does, but to do so, I often ask people to imagine that they're standing in the middle of a forest and they're holding the hand of a child, and it's their child. And it's dark and it's cold and it's scary, and you're in the middle of these really dense woods. And the child is scared and they're waiting for you to help lead them out of the forest, but you cannot find the path. You look around, you cannot see where a path might even be. You don't know which way to turn. And that can actually be what it feels like to be the parent of a child with a disability. I'm the mother of 3 children with disabilities, and I and so many other parents know that feeling of being lost in the forest, that forest of systems of special education, healthcare, technology. So we feel overwhelmed and frustrated and actually scared. So Pacer started in 1977. And for the past 47 years, we've actually been the light to help parents find that path, to help their children navigate their way out of the forest of all of those systems. Yeah. And last year, we had the good fortune of being able to be that light for 7,800 families. And then we trained more than 15,000 parents how to be better advocates for their children with disabilities. And we do all of that for families free of charge.
Oh my goodness. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Started here in Minnesota and you're national, right? Or how does that work?
Yes, we do a lot of work nationally. We are the Minnesota Parent Training and Information Center. And there are organizations where the heart of what we do is in other states too. But we were one of the first, and we've helped other organizations just like ours develop materials and develop trainings across the whole country.
Oh, wow. Tonia, that's just amazing. Thank you. So Tonia, what are the primary services of Pacer, and how should someone connect if they have questions about a child with disabilities?
Sure. Well, the easiest way to connect, the fastest way, is to go to pacer.org. So pacer.org. And we talk about 3 basic things that we do. The first one is what we started with and is still really at the core of what we do every day, is parent training and advocacy. So we help those parents navigate through the systems. We do webinars and we do one-on-one consultations, and we create written resources that are on our website as well. The second thing we do is through our Simon Technology Center. And that is a place where families can come and explore all kinds of assistive technology that may help their kids overcome the challenges that their disabilities create. And then they can check out that technology out of our library and use it for a while to decide whether it's the right thing for their child. And then the third thing, which is what I think we're going to talk about mostly today, is our social inclusion program. And that includes things like the Pacer puppets that go to elementary schools across the state of Minnesota, and they talk about kindness, acceptance, and inclusion. And then our National Bullying Prevention Center, which is the largest component of our social inclusion program. And so again, you can find any of these things at pacer.org.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Tonia. So you and I both know that October is National Bullying Prevention Month, but maybe not everybody knows. How do we define bullying, and how did Pacer get involved in this topic?
So bullying is really when someone aggressively uses their power So there's an imbalance of power to target another individual with repeated things like unwanted words. It might be physical aggression or other actions. And then the targeted person feels hurt or humiliated or and they have a hard time stopping the behavior all by themselves. So PACER originally got involved with bullying prevention all the way back in 2006. And we did that out of the heart of our organization, which is around children with disabilities, because children with disabilities are far more likely to be bullied. But we learned that the resources we were developing are good for kids of all ages. And so we expanded to talk about this world of kindness, acceptance, and inclusion for all children, not just children with disabilities. And unfortunately, to this day, we still hear heartbreaking stories of kids that are still being bullied. And we often hear from adults who were bullied when they were children, and they talk about the lasting impact that that behavior had on them. So we still have a lot of work to do.
What are typical signs of bullying, and what should parents and educators be looking for in their home, in the playground, in the classroom?
Yeah. So oftentimes, if a child stops wanting to go to school, or they complain often of headaches and stomach aches as reasons why they don't want to go to school, if their school performance drops dramatically, those can be signs of bullying. And in teenagers, parents should also look out for self-harm or other risky behaviors, because those can also be signs that the child is being bullied. So open lines of communications with kids, whether you're a teacher, a school administrator, or a parent, is really, really critical. Because one of the things we talk about most often is how to help children understand what bullying looks like. And if your child comes and tells you they think they might be bullying or they're not really sure, then we tell parents there's a checklist. And the teacher could use this too. So does the child feel hurt? Are they upset by whatever behavior is happening? Is it happening more than once? And does the child want it to stop? And is the child unable to make it stop on their own? So those 4 questions, and if a parent or teacher talks to a child and the answer to those questions is yes, it is likely that the child is experiencing bullying, and the adult should get involved and figure out how to help resolve the situation.
Is there anything that is more common, or what makes someone a target of bullying? Have you have enough research or information on that?
So first of all, thank you for using the word target instead of victim.
Yes.
So we encourage people not to use the word that someone is a victim of bullying, because that sounds like it's a label, and it sounds like this is never going to change. You're always going to be a victim.
Nice.
The word target talks more about the behavior that's happening. And so if you use the word target of bullying behavior, then you can give someone the hope that things can change and that they will no longer be a target. And unfortunately, the question that you asked about, are there things that make it more likely to be a target? The answer is no. Anyone can be the target of bullying. It's not just the smaller kids or the unpopular kids or the kids with disabilities. It can be anybody that decides that person is going to be the target of my bad behavior.
So interesting. I didn't know that, but I guess it makes sense.
It does.
Tonia, are there different kinds did we talk about different kinds of bullying, and what is the difference between conflict versus bullying?
Yeah. So let me start with the second question, which is, what's the difference between conflict and bullying? So there will always be conflict, Kathy. Even once you get to be adults, there's always conflict because people disagree.
Yep.
And as long as people can share their opinions and share their thoughts about what they disagree about, that is not bullying. bullying is actually done for the purpose of hurting or humiliating somebody. And it's about power and control. It's not about disagreement. And yes, you asked about, are there different kinds of bullying? The answer to that is yes.
Yeah.
We talk about 5 different kinds. There's verbal, which is the most common. So that might be things like calling people names, making threats, starting rumors, things like that. There's emotional or social, which is often hard to detect because it sometimes means just excluding somebody from your group of friends or starting rumors, and it's emotional manipulation as opposed to verbal words that go directly to the target. And then there's physical, which is what most people think of when they think of bullying. And it's the easiest to detect because you can see it happening. That includes pushing, fighting, and sometimes it also includes physically damaging somebody's property for the purpose of harming them. There's the 4th kind of sexual bullying, which can include unwanted contact, unwanted sexual comments. And then the last one, which is in the news a lot these days, is cyberbullying.
Yeah.
And so that's unwelcome messages, whether they're text messages or messages on social media. It can also include starting rumors or saying bad things about people, untrue things on social media platforms. So that's the last kind.
In 2006, you say, is that kind of when you started working on this bullying campaign?
Yes.
And
yes.
So what got you guys to start that? Like, what was really the precursor or the thing that really was like, okay, we got to address this?
It really was out of our work with kids with disabilities. That it makes someone such a target because there are obvious physical differences between a child with a disability and other children. And because they think differently or they move differently because of their disabilities, it's really easy, especially for younger children, to call out their differences and tease them and bully them just because they are different. And quite often, a child with a disability is not as capable of defending themselves or communicating that they don't like what is happening. So that's other reasons why they're such easy targets for bullying. So when we started this work in 2006, that's what we thought we were going to do, was have a conversation about bullying of children with disabilities. But we learned it is far more prevalent across the entire spectrum than we wished it was. And the things that we were talking about how to prevent it and how to stop it applied whether the target had a disability or not. So that's how we started to expand shortly after 2006.
That makes so much sense. So Pacer Center focuses on being a resource for children with disabilities, but your resources are for everyone. Are there statistics on bullying, and does bullying happen more to children with disabilities, or is that just across the board?
Yep. So the statistics are about 1 in 5 children in school are targets of bullying. And the statistics for children with disabilities are twice that. So it's startling when you see that statistic and start to think about what it means for all children. Saying 1 in 5 of our kids is being targeted by bullying is a lot.
So what does bullying prevention look like?
So that's what we like to call it, is bullying prevention, because our whole concept is to be able to nip it in the bud and hopefully stop it even before it starts. So we just talked about this statistic that 1 in 5 students has experienced bullying, but we like to say 5 in 5 students can help prevent bullying. And I think about 2 parts to doing that. One is all around education. So on our National Bullying Prevention website, we have all kinds of resources that are really meant to educate and help people understand what is bullying and how bad is the impact that it can have on people's health and well-being, and even showing people that children who were bullied when they were younger have lasting impacts that can affect them well into adulthood. So that's the education piece. It's helping understand what it is and the impact it has. And then the second part being action. And action can include anything from learning how to advocate for yourself. If you are the target of bullying, what can you do for yourself? It can also mean how do you advocate for others? If you're a witness to bullying behavior, how do you think about going and talking to an adult? Or how do you help your friend extricate themselves from the situation where they're being bullied? And then action can also be taken by the person who's been engaging in bullying behavior. So we often ask people who are engaging in that behavior to think about what are they doing, why are they doing it, and help them understand that impact that they're having on other people, because that we are hoping will help people think a little bit deeper and once they understand that impact, choose to stop the behavior. So yeah, so for parents, we think about bullying prevention can include advocating for your child and teaching your child to advocate for themselves. And it may also be, as a parent, you may be the parent of the child who's doing the bullying. So being thoughtful about, if you learn that about your child, how do you have that conversation to make it real to them, how they are hurting other people and alternatives to the bullying behavior.
That's so interesting. And I wonder, like, first of all, that's got to be really hard for parents when they learn that about their child, but also, that there's gotta be some resources or something, because that's a tough topic as a mom or a dad or a caregiver to know that your child might be doing that. Man, I mean,
yes, it's a very typical topic, and quite often, unfortunately, we still hear it's just teasing, or boys will be boys, just some of those who just want to ignore the problem or diminish the problem, because the conversation with the person who's engaging in the bullying is really challenging. And it takes a courageous adult to step in and use some of the tools that we have available on our website to be able to have that difficult conversation, to try to have the bullying person think carefully about what they're doing and what happens as a result of their behavior.
So you guys were basically these people that have started this anti-bullying and bullying prevention around the country. And it's just so heartwarming to know. And Wednesday is a very special day. What day is Wednesday?
So Wednesday is Unity Day. So the entire month of October is National Bullying Prevention Month, which PACER started years and years ago. But Wednesday, we celebrate Unity Day, which we ask people to wear and share orange. So thank you for wearing your orange sweater, Kathy. I have my orange jacket on today. But do that as a symbol of that you are trying to be part of a movement to create a community of kindness, acceptance, and inclusion, so that we can bring awareness to bullying prevention and help bring this problem to an end.
Awesome. You and I kind of learned a little bit more on the side about some people that have been involved in your anti-bullying campaigns. Do you want to share that with us at all?
Sure. One of the very first people was Demi Lovato. She unfortunately was the victim of bullying when she was a young child. So she has long been on a campaign to try to stop that and bring awareness to bullying. So she did a video for us in 2010 that got a lot of traction nationally. But we've also had the very good fortune of people like Ellen DeGeneres, putting our materials up on her website to help us promote it. We've worked with Disney and the Cartoon Network, who've been big supporters of really helping us bring awareness in ways that kids will understand and be able to be engaged with the work that we're doing.
That's amazing. I think that's so great that you've got people from all over the country involved and to help promote this very important topic. I love it. So thank you. Another one. Pacer Center has a Kids Against Bullying website and a Teens Against Bullying website, and it's at yourpacer.org. Is that right?
Yes.
Is there a difference for Kids Against Bullying, your website, versus your Teens Against Bullying website? And is bullying at different ages more severe?
Bullying, unfortunately, can be severe at any age. Although there's a lot of talk about cyberbullying these days, any kind of bullying can happen at any age. And the difference between the two websites that you talked about, Teens Against Bullying and Kids Against Bully, is really around language. So for example, in the Teens Against Bullying website, we give them lots of tools and things to think about and techniques, and we talk about building this community of kindness, acceptance, and inclusion. But those are a lot of words that might not resonate with kids in elementary school. Mm-hmm. So the Kids Against Bullying is designed for that age kid, that kindergarten to about 5th or 6th grade. And we convey that same concept about community, but we do it on that website by talking about how do you be a friend? How do you ask someone to play? How do you include them in what you're doing? And so it's all about language and identifying techniques and concepts depending on the age of the children that we're trying to help.
Tonia, so how are things going? Is there any research on the impact of the programming and resources Pacer has developed around your anti-bullying campaigns?
So the most recent research from the federal government was for the school year 2021-22. Okay. And in that study, 19.2% of students that were in that 6th grade to 12th grade range indicated that they were experiencing bullying. The good news is that it is actually down from 28% of that same group of people from 2010 to 2011. So that's a step in the right direction, but it still means that almost 1 in 5 kids are experiencing bullying in school. So as I said before, we still have a lot of work to do.
So one last question I always ask our guests is this. Tonia, what is your favorite children's book and why?
So I have a whole list, Kathy, because I have a new grandchild. And so I'm getting back into children's books. But because of the topic we talked about today, I'll choose a book called Troll by Frances Stickley. And it's a new book that we just got introduced to at Pacer. And it does a beautiful job of helping young children understand bullying behavior and how someone can change to become friends with others. So I would encourage people to look at it. You can actually find a link to it. It's on Amazon, but you can also find a link to it on Pacer's website.
I just want to say a huge thank you again, Tonia, for taking some time with us today. I know you're so busy this week. I know it's a big week for bullying prevention and for everything at Pacer. So thank you so much for your time. And
You're very welcome. My pleasure, Kat.
Yeah. We look forward to getting together again and talking more about other things that Pacer is very involved with as well. So hopefully you will join us again sometime.
That would be great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a fabulous day.
Thank you.